Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make something extremely simple and extremely delicious. It's a cherry tomato pie with tuna fish. First of all, we'll start the oven. And we'll set it to 120 degrees centigrade, 250 Fahrenheit, convection. Then we need 2 pounds of cherry tomatoes, a tin of tuna, ideally in olive oil, some mustard, and a roll of puff pastry ready-made. We'll put our cherry tomatoes into a large dish that goes in the oven. We want them to be spread out, not on top of each other. And then, waste not, want not, we will use the oil from our tuna to sprinkle over the tomatoes. That also means we don't need to salt them because that oil is already salted. Just take care that they're all very well coated. When they're nice and shiny, like this, that looks right, off they go into the oven. At 120 degrees centigrade, 250 Fahrenheit, that's where they stay for 2 hours. You heard that right, 2 hours. That's actually not bad. I can start the second volume of my Life of Queen Victoria. Fascinating. In the oven, our tomatoes will lose a lot of water and become very tasty and very sweet. I haven't really finished my read, but the tomatoes are ready. Or at least they should be. Let's have a look. Yes, they are perfect. I put them to one side and leave them to cool a little bit. Now I'll have to cut the convection side, put it back to standard, conventional, at 200 centigrade, 400 Fahrenheit. As you can see, I have buttered a pan, and I'm going to mark it in the middle. That's the middle. Then just unroll your dough, which should be about the right size. And once it's flattened, you fold it over into halves, and then fold those halves again to make a triangle. And that triangle, the tip of the triangle goes exactly onto the point that we've marked in the pan, so that folding out your dough, like this, it'll be exactly at the right place in the pan. So you don't wind up with lots of dough hanging over one end and the other end exposed. I fold over the edges because I like the edges to be rather thick, and then with a fork, just prick some holes in it and try to get as much of the bubbles out as possible. Using the same fork, because I don't want to wash up, I'm crushing the tuna into little bits. I'll put something under this thing because I don't want to get oil all over my place. And then I'll just take some mustard. Any mustard will do, take your favorite, and then spread it on the dough. You have to do that carefully so as not to tear the dough, but at the same time, there needs to be mustard everywhere, so do not forget the edges of your pan. Same thing for the tuna that we've crushed up into little bits. We just put it in the pan and then spread it out evenly, not forgetting the edges so nobody is left out. Once that's done, the only thing left is to put in the tomatoes, in nice circles if you're patient, or just any which way. It doesn't really change the taste. This is what it should look like once it's nearly done. I'll just put in the rest. If you have some leftover tomatoes, eat them. They're delicious. Now our pie is done, and off it goes to the oven at 200 degrees centigrade, 400 Fahrenheit, right on the floor of my oven so that the bottom becomes really crispy. Halfway through, I'll give it half a spin so that it bakes regularly. Half an hour later, out it comes, and I'll put it to the side for a minute because it is better warm than hot. What I tell you, couldn't be easier. It's an excellent, excellent starter for 6, or a light dinner or lunch for 2, with a green salad, for example. Bon appétit!